A very pleasant morning to everyone. I'm sure this morning finds you all agile and active. I hope you had good rest and with a fresh mind you have just come to continue the second class, class 10 English. I hope or I presume that you have gone through what we have learned yesterday. And I would like to remind you once again, at the beginning of every class we have a class test, and which will be taken into consideration for your internal marks, the final internal marks for the board, 20 marks. And therefore, taking the classes seriously, going through it on a daily basis, getting yourself prepared and giving your best, these are all requirements. And there is no compromise in this regard, and therefore please try to cooperate, although we are not able to see each other physically. Let me begin with a small an incident which will be a source of inspiration for all of us. As human beings, we all argue, don't you? More than men, women argue a lot. Whether they are small or big, they argue a lot. Argument happens to prove a point that you are right, that the other is wrong. That is the purpose of argument, to say that I am right and he is wrong. To say I am right and she is wrong. We have only seen human beings arguing, but it seems once rivers began to argue. The point of argument is, who is the greatest? Who is the greatest? River Nile, which runs in Egypt, said, I am the longest river in the world. So by virtue of being the longest, I am the greatest in the world. And the second river, Amazon, which runs in South America, said, I am the broadest river in the world, and therefore I am the greatest. Being the broadest river in the world, which runs in South America, it said, I am the greatest. There was another river which runs through Europe, Danube. It said, I am the second largest river in the world, but I am the quickest river. A lot of people travel for business, and therefore I am used more than any other river. Being the second longest and the quickest, I think I qualify to be the greatest river in the world. And meanwhile, all the other rivers also began to argue. When the argument was taking place, God was looking from heavens at all these arguments, because he is the creator who created the rivers, who created everything on this earth. And therefore he looked at all the rivers and he gave a final verdict. He said, stop arguing. And he told the rivers, he told Nile, just because you are the longest in the world doesn't mean you are the greatest. He told Amazon, just because you are the broadest river in the world doesn't mean that you are the greatest. And he told Danube, just because you are the quickest river in the world doesn't mean you are the greatest. Greatest river is one which does not have any name, which originates in an unknown place in a hillock and runs through deep valleys and reaches to the remotest of places and makes the soil fertile, thus giving livelihood to people who are poor, people who are sidelined, people who are marginalized, people who do not have anything to live on. A river without name, which runs through the deep valley, reaches the earth and waters the soil and makes it fertile and becomes a source of livelihood for people who are poor, people who are neglected, and which does all this in a humble way is the greatest river. I think this is a very important point of focus that you and I need to cultivate as growing up. It is humility which is the greatest of all virtues. So let this day be a day in which we will focus ourselves to be always humble. It is in serving the least that we become great. It is being humble, we become great. It is in helping a classmate, a companion of ours who is weak in studies, that we become great. We don't become great by scoring 100% out of 100%. We become great when we are able to help a classmate who is very weak and we enable him to score 50, 60% of marks. So, let us be humble because God wants all of us to be humble. This is a thought for the day. Therefore, be humble to be greatest in the sight of God. I had reminded you yesterday that we will begin the class with a class test. That is a parameter for me to measure your understanding, and therefore be ready. Take your copies, and you will be given 10 minutes to answer these questions. And please be sincere. Do not refer back to the notes or the video that we have seen yesterday. Look at the question and write the answers, and see that your answers are legible, written neatly. Remember, you are all going to appear for board exams, and therefore your legibility, your neatness and your presentation is going to fetch you marks. So please take your time. The time starts now. It's time for the explanation of the text that we have read yesterday from pages 3 to 5. I'm not going to reread the text. I did the model reading and I had assigned a task of rereading it personally by yourself and recording the same. And therefore I take it for granted that you have done the homework and you have sent me the audio tape of your personal reading. Now we shall move on to the explanation. I will take paragraph by paragraph and explain to you. The text of the paragraph is given to you. In case you do not have the textbook, you can look at the text and listen to the explanation. Look at the text and listen to the explanation. The first paragraph. House of Lenko was situated on the top of a low hill. Since it was situated on top of a low hill, it gave an aerial view of the river that was flowing by and his own field. And the field had signs of good harvest. It already promised signs of good harvest. Therefore, Lenko knew his field intimately, meaning to say, he knew that the field just needed a downpour or a shower. And hence, he was looking at the sky towards the northeast for some signs of downpour or rain. Now we shall move on to the paragraphs 2, 3 and 4. What does paragraph 2, 3 and 4 mean? I told you Lenko knew his field intimately and therefore he knew if there was a down shower, that will ensure a good harvest. And therefore he was looking at the sky towards the northeast for signs of rain, clouds. Therefore Lenko had predicted a downpour, and when he communicated the same to his wife, she also approved as she was preparing dinner for the family. And this prediction, which was shared by Lenko to his wife and which was approved, became a reality, because as they were having meal, it began. The showers came down, the downpour came down, and Lenko was so happy because this prediction was realized with the big drops of rain coming down. And he could see the movement of the clouds, and he was very sure this is going to be a great and heavy shower. And therefore, momentarily, there was a lot of satisfaction in the heart of Lenko. He was filled with so much joy because he knew his harvest this year is going to be great, and that is going to feed his entire family. But what happened? That momentary joy and satisfaction was cut short with the arrival of a strong wind. And the strong wind brought the downpour together with hailstones. Happiness and the joy of Lenko was cut short by the arrival of a strong wind which brought down the heavy downpour along with hailstones. Lenko knew his field intimately. He saw signs of good harvest, but he also knew that a good shower, a downpour, will make that promise being realized. So his prediction came true, the rain came down, and he was so happy, but that particular happiness was short-lived, cut short with a sudden fall of hailstones along with the rain. And when the hailstones came, the children of Lenko were filled with joy and curiosity as little children. They started collecting those frozen pearls which fell on the fields. And that particular joy and curiosity didn't last long, because the hailstones persisted not just for a few minutes but for an hour. And when the hailstones begin to rain for an hour, the entire crop in Lenko's field was totally destroyed. There was not a leaf left in the field. Imagine, a person had such a hope. He saw promise, he saw signs of good harvest. He just wanted rain, and rain also came down. But unfortunately, the hailstones came and destroyed all the future hopes of Lenko, a poor farmer. When all his hopes were shattered, he ran out of option. His heart was heavy, his soul was filled with pain. He had no other option for survival, because sorrow began to envelop his soul, and the entire mood of the family turned from joy to deep sorrow and anxiety. So I have finished explaining the text that we have read yesterday from paragraph 1 to paragraph 5, from pages 3 to page 5. At the end of which it is good to check whether you have understood the storyline, and therefore I have placed before you a comprehension check which is given in your textbook, which can be done later on, but just place before you certain questions. If you are able to answer now, that means you have understood the story very well. What did Lenko hope for? Why did Lenko say the raindrops were like new coins? How did the rain change? What happened to Lenko's fields? What were Lenko's feelings when the hail stopped? So these are the questions for you to check whether you have understood the storyline in and through the explanation and the reading that we have done so far.